A T intersection is a place where one road joins another, but does not cross it, so that it forms the shape of the letter T. As with four-way intersections, this three-way intersection can be controlled by traffic signals, traffic signs, or have no traffic controls, generally located in more low-volume traffic areas. If the intersection has no stop or yield signs, the car on the main or through road at the top of the T has the right-of-way over the car coming from the terminating road or the bottom of the T. With a three-way stop intersection, the car that arrives and stops first gets to go first. If two cars arrive at the intersection at the same time, then the car on the through street has the right-of-way. If the cars are facing each other, then the car not turning would go first.
As we can see in this video clip, traffic light controlled T intersections can be designed slightly differently so as to achieve specific goals. One of the T intersections shown moves traffic away from Malfunction Junction, which was a point where three major roads had once intersected, resulting in more than usual traffic congestion and delays. These two traffic light controlled T intersections require pedestrians to cross with slightly different traffic flows. The signalized T intersection with streets at right angles to each other allows pedestrians to cross the terminating road at the bottom of the T when parallel traffic starts up. The left-hand turner will need to yield to the through traffic and will hopefully be more aware of pedestrians in the crosswalk. The T that is more curved requires the pedestrian to cross when traffic on the through road at the top of the T is making an unimpeded left-hand turn, heading south on the terminating road. Because the driver could be crossing the path of a pedestrian at this point, it is important for both driver and pedestrian to be alert and watching out for each other. Pedestrians crossing from top to bottom on the right side of both T intersections are able to leave with left-hand turners who do not cross their path.
At a three-way or all-way stop intersection, drivers need to take their turn and watch for pedestrians before starting up. It is better for the pedestrian to cross with the near parallel car, or in this case, the left-hand turner, which keeps the perpendicular cars in check until she is more visible to all of the traffic. At a signalized T intersection, when the pedestrian is crossing the through street on the left-hand side of the T, she will need to start the crossing as the driver is turning left off of the terminating street and onto the through street. The driver should remember to look for pedestrians who might be getting ready to cross, and remember to always yield to the white cane or service dog.
The visually impaired pedestrian will know it is time to begin crossing if the driver pulls up closer to the crosswalk before stopping to yield. There is a concern about the possibility of the yielding car being rear-ended and pushed into the crosswalk as the pedestrian is crossing, and the driver should be aware of this and not pull too close to the crosswalk. An audible pedestrian signal works very well at a T intersection in that it enables the visually impaired pedestrian to begin crossing at the beginning of the cycle instead of having to wait for the left-hand turner to cue them.
At this signalized T intersection, pedestrians cross the terminating street as the driver turns left off of the through street. The driver needs to be alert to pedestrians who might be crossing, and always yield to the white cane or service dog. This cane user has enough functional vision to determine when the pedestrian signal changes to walk. An audible pedestrian signal will help the functionally blind cane traveler begin crossing at the beginning of the cycle. However, the driver needs to be alert and considerate of pedestrians to ensure safety at this intersection.
At the same intersection, the first driver carelessly cuts in front of the pedestrian, while the second car yields to the white cane in the proper manner. Some T intersections have crosswalks on both sides of the T, while others only allow the pedestrian to cross on either the left or right side. It is better for the pedestrian if the crosswalk is situated on the right-hand side of the T, since the pedestrian can then begin crossing as the left-hand turners start up and move away from them.
The pedestrian should remember that not all drivers are considerate, and that some are distracted by their cell phones or something else while driving. Therefore, she should not forget about the right-hand turner as she completes the crossing.
The right-hand turn driver should try and not pull up too close to the crosswalk when yielding to the pedestrian, and instead remain behind the limit line.
It is also very important for the pedestrian to begin crossing when the pedestrian signal says walk, and never cross at the wrong time or jaywalk. Pop quiz: which pedestrian is crossing correctly?